Now, when I've created a quote card that's just a static image and I want to jazz it up and animate it and make it a video, I have two apps that I use to do this really quickly right on my phone. So let me go ahead and show you what they are. A student in one of my paid programs recently asked, "Hey Elise, how do you make one of these types of posts?" Now, if you've learned Instagram marketing from me before, you've probably heard me talk about community-based content. That's a term I've made up, but quote cards are the perfect way for you to create community content. That means it's content not about you and it's all for your community. So if you've ever wanted to make quote cards or community-based content, you're in the right place, because in today's video, I'm gonna share with you how I make quote cards for my Instagram feed. And stay tuned until the end, where I'm gonna share my apps that I use all the time to give my quote cards that little extra oomph, which gives them even more visibility in the algorithm. Now, what I'm about to share with you today isn't just any old quote card training. We've all seen quote cards for years, but I'm going to take you behind the scenes of how I make community-based content through quote cards, which actually give me crazy engagement. To give you a little insight into what I mean, I'm going to roll one of my TikTok videos that explains it better than I could. What I'm about to show you is why your Instagram feed needs community-based content. Because the crazy thing about Instagram is we've all been conditioned to care about likes, but the algorithm does not care about likes. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to show you a behind the scenes look at my insights for one of my posts. Now, the likes on this post have been hidden from my view, but if I tap insights, I can see that this post has received 735 likes. Now, some people might look at my 80 to 90,000 followers and be like, that's low. I don't care about likes. What I really look at is the shares and the saves. The crazy thing is this post has over 1,500 saves, more than the likes. Now, the algorithm cares more about shares and saves, way more than likes. So this is a perfect example of a post that might not look like from the outside it's doing that well, but I know from my insights, it's doing amazing. Now, because this is such an important key, let's cover what is community-based content. Again, this is a term that I've made up because it's not just a quote card. A quote card could be an inspiring quote. I'm not talking about that. With community-based content, I'm talking about a post on your feed that has nothing to do with you. It is something that you've designed for your community to resonate with. So much so that they're going to share it to their stories or save it or send it to their friends. Another way to think about it is back in the day, people used to put bumper stickers on their cars. For your audience, what is a bumper sticker that they would be proud to put on their car? And if they're real fanatics, you can think about it like this. What's a tattoo that they'd be willing to put on their forehead? The point is you need to create content that's a quote, it's a graphic, it's a chart. It's something that makes your audience feel,
yes, that's me. You've nailed it 100%.
And it's not easy, I'm not gonna lie. Community-based content is not that easy because you're essentially verbalizing something that your audience is feeling and they might not have verbalized it yet themselves. But when you post something that gets that amount of shares and saves, that's when you know you've done your job and you've created an awesome piece of community-based content. Now, why is this kind of content doing so well right now? Community-based content in the form of quote cards is doing so well, in my opinion, because it's really a mix of memes. We all know memes are really hot on Instagram, but it allows you to mix in value into the meme. Now, I define value by whether the content is inspirational, educational, or entertaining. So any of those elements you can put into a quote card. Again, we've got the meme aspect blended in, and it's truly a recipe for success. Now let me take you behind the scenes into my business, and I'll show you how I make my quote cards. I use a program called Canva. I'm a desktop girl, so I'm gonna show it to you on my desktop, but you can also use their app. Here I am inside of my Canva account. You can see that I've labeled this design as Elise Instagram quote cards, so I can always find it. And scrolling through, you can see that some of these designs are super simple. Like this is just a text-based post, but again, it's for my audience. It's not about me. Let me zoom out a little here as well. You can see some that I've designed a little bit more with borders to match my brand colors. And you can see that I even keep the designs sometimes for inspiration, even though this is one that I posted a long time ago. I like to keep it. This is a quote of mine from Twitter, which I just bring into Canva, so I'll show you that in a second. But here you can get a sense of the type of post that I've created. Now, what is this moving element, you might ask? Well, this is a really cool feature within Canva. If you go over to Elements, then go over to stickers, you can see that there is some animated options. So I think I just went to shapes or frames. You can also type in keywords and then use the search here to say static or animated. So I do like finding animated features because then when I download it, what I can do is go to show more or download, choose page 10, which is the design that I'm on, and then I can choose to export it as a video. And as you know, I love video because it's super engaging in the feed. So that's how I turn my quote cards into video. I'll just find something animated from Canva's back end, like these stickers, add it to my quote card, and there you go, I have a video. So let's keep scrolling. You can see here I've gotten a little bit more artistic with my designs, but believe me when I say I don't have a design background. I think my team has helped me make a few of these things like this graph here, but I'm usually the one creating the written aspect of it. So Canva is where I create all of my quote cards. Now let's go back to this Twitter one. This is a popular way to share your thoughts and also get your branding in it. So let's go over to my Twitter feed really quickly. And you can see here that that was a quote of mine. So one cool thing you could do is actually test your thought in Twitter and see what sort of engagement you get. So this isn't anything crazy, but it's more than my average. So what I did was I opened up Twitter on my phone, I took a screenshot of this tweet, and then I uploaded it into my Canva folders. I brought it in and you can see that there was this one element here that came in from Twitter. So all I did was go to Elements and then go down to Shapes, and I just pulled in a shape like this and I made it white so that it blended in. And then all I did was use that shape to cover up this element. I just didn't want it to detract from my message. But other than that, this is literally just a screenshot from my phone of my tweet. I didn't have to add in my handle because you can see my Twitter handle is the exact same. So that's a popular style that I really like too. Tweet something, take a screenshot with your phone, bring it into Canva. Again, Canva is also a mobile app, so you can do this all on your phone. Another type that I'm experimenting with is this. So this is a screenshot from my phone. It's just something that I created in my notes. So let me just duplicate it and delete this. And I can show you that this was the original screenshot from my phone, right? So I just wrote a few tips, productivity tips. I took a screenshot, brought it into my Canva account. Then I used the crop feature here to cut all this out and to minimize all this, right? So I could have just made this full size and made this my whole quote card, but I wanted my branding in it. So I used the green border, and then these are little animated circles. If I zoom them out, you can see that they're animated. So this was my sneaky little element to bring some animation to this post so that it could actually export as a video. And this was the final version of it. And when you go over to my feed and check it out, you'll see that it actually plays as a video. So that's it, nothing too complicated. Canva is my base for all of these things. I have ideas that hit me at all different times on things that I can share like through a quote card. So I do use the Notes app on my phone to just jot down any ideas so I don't forget them. Now, when I've created a quote card that's just a static image and I want to jazz it up and animate it and make it a video, I have 2 apps that I use to do this really quickly right on my phone. So let me go ahead and show you what they are. Here I am inside of my app Pixaloop, which I love. So you can see here, this is a quote card from my camera roll. And there are ways that you can animate. I mean, you can hit this animate option, but I find that I usually go to effects. And you can see here that when you hit the play button, you can start to see what the effect looks like. And you can pick and choose, what element of your quote card moves. This one is moving across the whole thing. You can see the words kind of flickering. I've actually used this one before and people have asked me, so it's all in Pixaloop. Again, here's some more options here just to make some animation on your graphic, and lots of ways that you can adjust it as well. So I really like effects just for a simple quote card. Everything else like water and sky, they're better for real images. The other one would be this overlay option. So this is a cool way to also add some animation over your image. A second app that I like to use is called Over. So Over has some really nice built-in designs. Here I am on the homepage. You can see here, they're actually teaching me how to make wavy text, which is a design trend that I'm seeing more and more on Instagram. So I can go ahead and read that tutorial, or I can use their templates to find something that looks like a good base. If I don't want to use a template, I can also just pull up from my camera roll and start from my quote card there. Now, other template options can be found right here. So for example, if I use this quote option, again, these are some good baseline designs to get me started, and I can edit them all directly within the app. So makes it easy to make quotes on the go. So there you have it. You've got my secrets on how I make quote cards for Instagram. Now, if you're looking for even more content ideas from me, I invite you to check out Storyvault. Storyvault is 800 ideas for your Instagram stories, which you can definitely use for your captions too. Now, these aren't just random prompts and ideas. They are all specific to the seasons of your business. Curious what I mean there? Head to the link right in the description of this video or head to storyvault.co to get the full scoop. To ease in revenue, I'll see you in the next video. Now I define value how do I define value?